What's up, guys? This is Chris here, and today we're going to be talking about my 10 favorite things I saw at SHOT Show 2025. Now, it's been a long time since I went to SHOT Show. It's been 5 years, and I figured on our 5th anniversary, we might as well go back and see what's up. It was actually a really good year to go as well, probably one of the best years in the last decade, so I was happy that I did. Now, before we get into the video, I do want to talk about the Gundies. A weird thing happened.
Influencer of the Year, Honest Outlaw.
I won Influencer of the Year, which I can't believe. First off, I didn't think that I would even get in the top 4 or 5, let alone be the #1, and that's all because of you guys. Thank you so much for voting for me. It was absolutely crazy. It's quite an honor, probably one of the biggest honors of my life, and we're just going to keep plugging it out for you. We make gun videos for you after all, and not the industry. And I found out at SHOT Show how much a lot of people in the industry don't like me, so apparently I'm doing my job. That being said, let's get right into it with #1, and it's in no particular order. Now, Smith & Wesson came out with a gun this year that I don't know if everyone's excited about, but I certainly am. I dropped a short on it earlier this week, and it did like 200K already, so apparently people are excited other than me, but it is the M&P steel frame. Now, they have a metal frame. They have a metal frame series, the spec. They have the carry comp. They have several of those guns, and they do have a couple new aluminum guns coming out this year, but the one I was excited about was the 5-inch comp steel frame. I've wanted them to do a steel frame M&P for a long time because I like the extra weight of a steel frame. If I could go with one particular type of metal, I would always go steel because it adds the weight on the bottom and it helps that recoil impulse, and I like to shoot fast. Now, along with that, it comes with a whole bunch of new features on it, including a very cool cylindrical barrel, a very interesting color scheme. They have a comp from Strike Industries on there, which I like that it's removable. Some people were complaining about that in the comments, but I like that it's removable because I can take it off and use it for limited optics, which is what I would do anyway. But the main thing I like about it is the new grip. They added new texture on the sides, which is what I've been complaining about for a while, and they also added a new front strap, which is bigger, and it helps grip the gun right where you want it to. It also looks super sexy, in my opinion. Now, another thing I liked at the Smith & Wesson booth is going to be the 357 lever gun. They came out with a 44 mag last year. I was pretty excited about that, but I wished it was a 357, and lo and behold, this year they have one. Not only that, but it's an ultra light model. It's very lightweight. As you can see in the footage, I can hold it up with one arm. It comes with M-LOK. It has a 16-inch threaded barrel, and obviously it can run 38 special or 357. I'm a big fan of that gun, and I'm going to be pretty excited to shoot it. I'll probably get one here for the channel here in a few months. Now, another place we went to, another company I obviously like, they're a sponsor of the channel, is Brownells. I went over there and saw my boy Cody. A couple of my friends were over there, and I hung out there for about an hour and a half and met a bunch of fans. It was actually pretty cool. Now, the coolest thing I saw at the Brownells booth, and the thing I was the most excited for, and I've been trying to get them to send me one for a while, is the new BRN 180 Gen 3. I want the Shorty 300 blackout version, and I really like the BRN 180. It is a really good truck gun, and I think the 300 blackout version, the newest one, comes out with tons of features on it that I'm personally really excited about, and it could be a contender for my truck gun. Now, another gun I'm really excited about that I just wandered by that I didn't even know was a thing because no one's talked about it was the Gen 3 Chris Vector. Now, I'm a completely biased fan of the Chris Vector. I understand that there's a few things that people don't like about it. I also understand it looks like a fucking laser gun, and I really, really like it. I like the way it shoots. I love that it shoots fast, and I've been in love with that gun ever since I saw it on Future Weapons on the Discovery Channel, like 2008 or something like that. I remember it came out as the #1 CQB gun, and I've had to have one. The new one comes with a lot of interesting features, including a removable pistol grip, a change in ergonomics, and it has a back on it to allow the SIG MCX braces, which is pretty cool. Hopefully they'll be sending me one for review, and we'll see how that goes. Probably the biggest release at SHOT Show was probably the new Staccato P4, the HD, and I would agree that's an awesome gun. Their booth was absolutely bananas, so much so we had a hard time even getting footage. Everybody was wasted. They had free beer. They were playing George Strait. Very, very on brand. The P4 4.5, though, the one I'm interested in, actually has a sight block on it, which is very cool. 4-inch slide with a sight block, and the sight block allows a little bit less reciprocating mass on the slide. It allows a little weight out front, so the recoil is even lower. They changed the optic system to a very similar optic system to like what Nighthawk runs with the irons in front, and it allows you to run a bigger optic like an SRO or a Trijicon HD without going over the ejection port, which I'm very, very excited about. Obviously, it takes Glock mags, which is pretty cool as well. And not only does it take Glock mags, but they didn't change the grip angle that much. They said they didn't change it at all. It looks a little Glocky to me, but I haven't tried it yet. Now, one of the bigger things that I really like about it is that they fixed the grip safety. And what I mean by fixed it is they fucking deleted it, which they should have done years and years ago. I hate grip safeties. It doesn't need 2 freaking safeties. It has a manual safety. Learn how to use it or get a Glock. Now, the drop safe thing is pretty awesome as well. I initially thought that was like a response to a Grand Thumb video that obviously kind of outed a bunch of 2011s, but we all knew 2011s weren't drop safe to begin with, or at least people in the know did. Now, the new gun is drop safe, which is very cool. Not really for me, I don't care much about that, but I mean, it will allow them to get in law enforcement, especially federal law enforcement contracts that require drop safe testing, and they're probably getting into that, I imagine, because they're already dick deep in law enforcement with the Texas Rangers and many other law enforcement agencies. They took all of that stuff, packed it in one gun, and man, were people excited, and I also am very excited. Now, the next one we're going to talk about here is basically everything at Palmetto. I mean, Palmetto kind of won SHOT Show last year and they came pretty close this year. They're one of the only gun companies out there innovating. I like some Palmetto stuff and I hate some of their stuff, to be honest, but one thing they do well is innovation, and they do innovation at a reasonable cost to allow the average person to buy it. I'm a fan of Palmetto, and they had a bunch of things there that I'm gonna have to buy this year, which kind of pisses me off. It's gonna cost me a lot of money, but I'm still gonna get them. The first thing is obviously the 5.7, the MP7 clone. That thing is crazy. I got to touch it and feel it, and you're probably seeing some of the footage right now, but I'm very excited about that gun. A gun I didn't know about was the Mod 12. It's obviously a clone, but very, very cool gun as well. But I think probably the biggest hitters were the straight pull gun, clone of the B&T, except for instead of turning it and pulling it back, you can just straight pull it and shoot it right away. The idea of the straight pull is to have the quietest gun humanly possible, which is why it runs 45 ACP. Standard 45 ACP is usually subsonic. You run it with a big ass suppressor, it's very quiet. It also runs off 1911 mags, and it is as heavy as a freaking sledgehammer, so it won't have any recoil. It also kind of looks like a glue gun. The two coolest things were probably the 570, which was very neat. It was a 570 mixed with a Mossberg 590 for the most part. And this year, not only they came out with a modular shotgun on the same receiver, so you can kind of plug and play and you can make your own shotgun, you can add or subtract things, but now you can make it semi-auto, which I've never heard of any company doing. You can either have a pump shotgun, and on the same receiver, you can have a semi-automatic just by switching some parts yourself at home. That's pretty cool. But the coolest thing they probably did, because of my bias again, is they made a 2011. And the 2011 not only doesn't look like a shit, but it actually looks like a pretty good gun with pretty solid ergonomics and pretty solid features I would want on a 2011. Now, they didn't give me the price, but if it comes in at a standard Palmetto price, they're going to sell so many of those that they won't ever be in stock. I'm going to talk about two guns that I went to SHOT Show for that I knew about before I went there. The first one being the CZ Shadow 2 Target. Now, the Shadow 2 Target I saw on James Reeves' video from Iowa was like 2 or 3 months ago. Immediately messaged CZ and I was like, I want one really bad. And they're like, well, they're not in the United States yet. And I was like, fuck. But here we are, fast forward 3 months, and they were actually pretty excited to send me one. And I told them I wanted the 6-inch version, and because I've never had a 6-inch Shadow 2 before, I'm very excited. The gun was designed by Eric Groffel, who's arguably one of the greatest shooters who ever lived. Then I got to hang out with him for a little bit, which was pretty neat. But the gun itself has an adjustable trigger on it, which is probably the biggest change other than adding an inch of barrel. She likes an inch of barrel, but she loves an adjustable trigger. And the trigger on a Shadow 2 is great, but it's not 2011 great because of my big dumb fingers right here. See my big Jack Skellington fingers? The one thing that 2011 can do over the CZ that I like is that you can put in adjustable lengths of trigger pull, so you can have a longer trigger pull based on your hand size. Now, the Shadow 2 can do that as well. So you can adjust the length of pull, you can adjust the pre-travel and the over-travel right there. You don't need to send it to a gunsmith. You can do it on your Shadow 2 target. And the gun isn't going to be much more expensive than the standard Shadow, at least so they told me. So when I get that for review, I'm going to shoot the absolute piss out of that and tell you if it's worth it. But right now, I'm super hyped. The second gun I want to get is the 11.5 MR556 A4. I just did a review on the 5.56 16-inch, but I really wanted the 11.5 because the 11.5 is what all the cool kids use after all. And I saw it and got to play with it at SHOT. Not only are we going to shoot that, but we are going to beat the shit out of that. I'm a huge HK 416 fan. I've always wanted one, and the 11.5 is really the holy grail, so I'm psyched. Now, the last two things I want to talk about are two things that are more interesting than fun. The first one being the Barrett precision grenade launching system, which I got to play with a little bit. It wasn't functional. but it was a prototype, and it was a 30 millimeter grenade launcher that was about as light as your average semi-automatic shotgun. It has a 5-round capacity, and it was very ergonomic, felt like an AR-15 when you loaded it. I did a short on it a little bit ago if you guys want to check it out, but that was pretty freaking awesome. But the thing I think that sort of stole the show for some people and pissed a lot of people off was the Kel-Tec PR-57. Now, talk about hostile. The Kel-Tec guys don't like me, apparently, because when I showed up to do a video on it, they already knew what I was there for. And I don't want to disappoint them, so I'm going to shit on it right now. The Kel-Tec PR-57 is a dumb idea. It's an innovative idea, but a stupid idea, in my personal opinion. I'm going to get one and shoot it because I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again, and I could very well be wrong about this. I could say it right now that it's stupid, and then I could go out and shoot 1,000 rounds through it, and it runs perfect, and I eat my words, and I would show you. But I don't believe it will. And the reason why I don't believe it will is because I've had like 10 Kel-Tecs, and none of them have gone 1,000 rounds without a failure. And this one doesn't even have detachable magazines. It's a cool design. It runs off stripper clips, and it runs 21 rounds of 5.7 in a small, tiny little concealed carry pistol, which seems great in theory. And I asked them why it had a fixed magazine and it ran off stripper clips. I was like, man, that's very cool for California compliant stuff. And they're like, well, no, it's not California compliant. And I was like, well, then why does it not have a detachable magazine? Well, because I needed it to be smaller and lighter. What? If you have a malfunction, let's, for example, say you're running a Kel-Tec and you have a lot of malfunctions. It's a lot easier to clear malfunctions with a magazine because you can pull the magazine out and clear the chamber and put a new mag in it. It is what it is. It's still cool. I'm still going to buy it and try it out. Hopefully, it's better than I expect. So overall, those are my 10 favorite things at SHOT Show 2025. Did you go to SHOT Show this year? Let me know in the comment section below. I met an absolute ton of you guys. It was awesome. If you like something at SHOT Show, let me know in the comment section below, especially if it's something I missed. I did see a video on a Scorpion, a VZ Scorpion, that was like $500 that I'm going to probably try to get. Once it comes out, I'll probably try to buy it. And then I saw the VitYaz too, and what a disaster that was, but it was funny. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your Oklahoma shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.